Sometimes when running Amber and Autonomy, a user wants to be able to script a simulation run, and it's often convenient for scripting very large runs in MATLAB directly. So Amber and Autonomy provide an API to allow that scripting to occur. So a lot of the examples to show how to script the API are given in the Amber 2023 folder under batch runs. So under this folder, there are many different examples on how to run a simulation using the API and script it in MATLAB. There's also description in the documentation. So if you go to Autonomy's help documentation and open up the documentation here, there's a section in the API that shows the different examples and what each example is showing. So for example 1 here, it's just basically showing the basic use of running one vehicle with one cycle. And then each example progressively builds on prior examples, showing how to do more and more with the API. So what I'll do here is just do a brief introduction, how to use it. So you start in your Amber 2023 folder, you go to your projects folder, and in the projects folder there is a startup file. You want to run that file to add all the libraries to the path. So what it's doing is it's basically going through this A project file that was created using the user interface. It's the same project file that you can go here, go to edit, and modify. So you can say this is the default. You're adding and removing libraries here and saving that out to the A project file. You can see the A project file is itself an XML file with those entries for each one of those libraries with the path in the file. So if I run it, it'll add all those directories to the path. So I'll run it, I'll say change folder. Now it ran and added those paths. So you can see here, if I type in path in MATLAB, it'll show me what file or what folders are on the path. You can see the program folders on the path, and then the different libraries, the energy library, common library, process library. They're all added to the path. What I'll do next then is kind of go through the first example. So the first thing we want to do is instantiate a run multiple vehicles class. And that allows us to run multiple simulations. So it has a static factory method on it. So we just want to create it with the defaults. So now we can see that we created the run vehicles object with the defaults, and then what we want to do is we want to create a instance of a single run. So we'll do that next. And when we create the instance of the single run, what we want to do is we want to pass in an A vehicle file, the same type of file that you load in the user interface, and an A cycle file, basically the type of cycle you choose when running a simulation. So for the vehicle, we'll do a conventional, and we'll do mid-size, and then spark ignition gasoline engine with a 5-speed transmission and an automatic. That's an A vehicle file. And then what we'll do is we'll pass in a FUDS A cycle file. So it's a city cycle, standard certification cycle for city in the US. So I'll evaluate that. That creates a single run. And then what we'll do is we'll add the single run to the multi-run process. So we're adding that single run. And then once we've done that, the only thing you need to do to run it is basically type the run command. And that's pretty typical. Any of these process objects will have a .run. And you can just execute it by calling the method .run. So I'll do that next. So let me check. If we look at the result that comes out of it, this last result is an error. So, oh, I appended, it's the wrong. So let me recreate the single run. I had an S at the end here, so let me remove the S, get rid of the S. Okay. So let me just, maybe I should run vehicles. Let me clear run vehicles and just recreate it. Because I queued up a few additional. Let's do a PXF run vehicles, multiple vehicle. Create from default, so we reinitialized it, and then we'll add that run to it again. We'll add this single run, and now we'll run it. Vehicles.run, and now it will execute the simulation. It's building the diagram in Simulink from individual component models that are defined in the vehicle file, and it's running the simulation. Okay, now that it finished, we can go to run vehicles dot, and then we could look at the results. So we can get results as table, and we can see the results there. To print it, so that it prints it in a nice format. So our results are in this folder here. So we can load those results into a structure, and then we could print the results. So time simu is the time variable, chassis, plant, lens, speed, how simu is the speed of the vehicle, so you can see that. Then we can also plot things such as the fuel rate, so we can look at engine, plant, fuel rate simu, and plot the fuel rate, so you can see the fuel rate of the vehicle. So that's demonstrating a basic simulation run. In the next video, we could look at changing parameters for the vehicle, so changing vehicle mass, coefficient drag, and then running simulations.